Hey guys, we are going to be reviewing adding integers with models today. So integers are positive or negative whole numbers. They can be represented with models, which are counters, and also with number lines. So what I want you to think is, I want you to think of these negatives as being red in your zero pair, and I want you to think of the positives as being yellow. Okay, so if you are at school and you're working on an actual paper, I would like for you to color all of the positives yellow, and I would like for you to color all of the negatives red. Okay, so let's look at the very first question. Use 4 counters to show the number 4. So they did that. Use 6 counters to show the number 0. So basically, they just put pairs. I would have lined them up so that they were exactly equal, like a positive with a negative. Use 7 counters to show the number -1. So that means you're going to have one extra counter, like this one would be an extra as your -1. Write an equation to represent the value of this model, then model the given equation. So they have a model. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4 negatives, and it has 1, 2, 3 positives. So -4 plus 3 equals -1. So basically, what you're looking at is something like this. So I have -4 plus 3. So I'm looking at teams. If I were to subtract these, they were on teams, I would have more on this negative team. So it's the winner when I subtract and I get -1. That's kind of how I look at those. All right, look at your next one. I've got -2, so here's the 2, and +6. 2, 4, 6 in those. So -2 plus 6 equals 4. Again, if you think about it like your teams, you're on a team, 6, and you subtract out your 2, you get 4. -3 plus 6, that equals 3, because you're taking out 3 from the ones that you have, right? So that would be those negatives and those positives. You take out your pairs and you end up with only those 3 left. -3 plus 4. So I have -3, 1, 2, 3, and I have 4. So on this team, I've got more positives than negatives, so my answer is going to be a positive, right? So +1. All right, +3 plus your -4. So I've got a +3 and I'm subtracting out a -4. So that's going to give me a -1. -3 plus -4. So you're just adding in -3, you're adding in another -4, and you end up with -7. Also, you can represent these on a number line, like they've got the -1, but then they added the 4 to it, so that gave you 3. Or, let's say you had a +1, but then it said we're going backwards 4, and then you end up with -3. This shows we go -1, but then you're going to add in a -4, and you end up with -5. Okay, so this one we're starting with 0, of course, and we go to 1, but then we're going to add an additional 4 to that, and we get to 5. So those are just some things for you to think about. Look at 14 through 21. It says add the following integers, use a model of your choice, or test the patterns you have discovered. So what I would like for you to do is you can either use counters or you can use a number line, whatever you would like to use on those to solve the equations. -6 plus 3, remember, if you think about it like it's a team, there's more negatives than positives, and so it would definitely be a negative number. -3, 6 minus 3, I get 3, but it has to be negative because there's more on the negative side. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Okay, so 2, but I'm adding to that a -5. Again, if I subtract out 5 from that, If I say 5 minus 2, I get 3, but it's a negative 3 because the 5 is the larger number and it has the negative. Negative 5 plus the negative 5, I end up with negative 10. If you were to show that on a number line, you would go to the left 5 from 0, and then you would go an additional 5. Negative 1 plus 8 equals 7. So you could draw that out with a negative counter, one negative counter, and then your additional 8 positive counters, and then you would have to get rid of your negative and your positive 0 pair, and that would leave you with 7 total. So you can kind of see what to do for those. Thank you guys. I hope this has been helpful for adding integers.